You contacted his current lawyer, Nester, said, "Hey,
Yes.
I have this amazing lawyer willing to work pro bono," and you haven't heard back. And
No.
every other legal person you talked to in Utah said you can't. They didn't want. They were hostile, and they said that this Greg what is his name?
Skordas.
Greg Skordas.
Or it is. Yes.
Okay, so that he was going to find a lawyer, and so now he did find a lawyer for Tyler Robinson, but nobody can get a hold of Tyler Robinson.
Exactly. So that's another weird thing. And Jimmy, I've got some updates for you there too. I don't know if you've heard that he's not going to be showing up in person for the preliminary hearing he was scheduled to show up in person. And now
we got more Charlie Kirk news coming your way. Elizabeth Lane is with us. She's an investigative journalist and COO of Unified TV. She hosts the show Beyond the Matrix, where she explores politics, diplomatic affairs, and complex geopolitical narratives. Welcome to the show, Elizabeth Lane. Hi, Elizabeth.
Hi, Jimmy. Thank you for inviting me.
Now, the reason why you came to my attention and why I wanted to talk to you was I saw you tweet this out. You thanked real Candace Owen for highlighting a part of your investigation. It's highly unethical for the prosecution to select its own defendant.
Right.
And that appears to be what is happening. The government is covering. So tell me, what do you know about Tyler Robinson and his legal representation? What do you mean by that tweet?
Yes. So it's let me start from the beginning. When this whole thing happened, how do I investigate my cases is very complex. So I look at what's real and what's noise at first, and all this video evidence and all this stuff that people are talking about. Okay, so I have to filter from, the real thing from the noise. And I realize that the only person that could give me real answers right now is Tyler Robinson. So how do I get to Tyler Robinson? Well, if I write a letter that I need to, see him in prison, as a journalist, no one's going to allow me to even go, centimeters closer to the gate. So I realized that the best way I can get to him is through a lawyer. So I decided, why don't I get this guy a pro bono lawyer? And I went down to different firms in Utah, asking them to represent Tyler Robinson for free as a pro bono case. And this is where lawyers in Utah told me that, hey, so we are more than happy to do so. And these are average lawyers, your average firms, not the most popular ones in Utah. So they were like, we're very happy to do that for you, Elizabeth. The only problem is we don't have the qualification to do so. We can help you find somebody who does, but we cannot represent him. And then they said something very interesting. Guy named Skordas, who's, by the way, I think there was a mistake made on Candace's part. She said the prosecutor on the case. Skordas is not the prosecutor on the case. Skordas was running as a prosecutor of the state. So as an attorney general, which is a different case, but it's still very unethical for a person who's running as an attorney general in the state to, look for a lawyer for Tyler Robinson, who's a defendant.
Wait, can I just clarify? I need you to clarify what you're saying. So the attorney general in Utah, and what's that person's name?
Skordas.
How do you spell that?
I don't remember the spelling, but Greg, you can look it up. Greg Skordas.
Is it sound like Scordis? Skordas? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I believe so. Yes.
Okay, and so this person is the Attorney General of Utah. Yes.
He's running. He was running for an attorney general position.
Oh, so he's in a campaign.
Yes.
He's in a political campaign to become but what is his job right now?
So right now, it's very funny. He has a show. He leads a talk show that I never listened to, but a lawyer in Utah told me that when this whole thing happened, he was the guy who announced in his show that he doesn't believe, and again, this is what the lawyers told me in Utah, he doesn't believe that Tyler Robinson did any of this. And then when I'm trying to find Tyler Robinson, a lawyer, I get shut down because the same lawyers tell me that, well, you can't look for a lawyer because Skordas is already on this case and looking for a lawyer. So that was really weird for me and kind of unexplained. Okay, so he can look for a lawyer, but so can I. Like, what stops me from doing the same? By law, I can do that too. It is up to parents and Tyler Robinson himself, because he's, an adult, to pick which lawyer he wants to go with.
So how does this guy who's running for attorney general, is he also a lawyer? His name is Greg Skordas, Skordas. So does he have some kind of government position right now or no?
Well, right now, I'm not sure if he holds any governmental position. We should probably check. I don't know. But what I know is that he had on his website that he was running as an attorney general.
Okay.
So when I checked in with lawyers, because I don't practice law in Utah or in the state, so I checked in with them and they said, well, Elizabeth, like from starters, that's very unethical. So that's where like this whole thing about the lawyer kind of got to me, and I started trying to reach out to these people, like the highest, paid firms in Utah. And not only they got really mad at me that I was doing that one of them actually hung up the phone. Like I was talking to him and I'm like, hey, I actually have a lawyer from New York who's willing to represent Tyler Robinson. And he's one of the best lawyers in the country, not just in New York, in the country, and worked on high profile cases when it gets to death row. And they screamed on the phone and hung up on me. So I was like, okay.
So how does Greg Skordas become the person who's in charge of picking a lawyer for Tyler Robinson, the accused assassin of Charlie Kirk? How did he get to be in that position? I don't understand. Do you?
I don't know. I know that he was there. I was at the hearing. The first hearing that happened, that was a whole different spectacle. Because I live in Utah, so I attend those hearings and I'm always on the case. So I was there, and let me tell you something really weird. So he was there too, by the way. Greg Skordas was there. I think one of I don't remember which outlet recognized him, but they said, isn't that Skordas like addressing the judge? And he was there. So I'm sitting in the first row. The whole thing about this hearing was just a clown show. So in the beginning, I thought that this is a high profile case. I'm going to get there early because I don't know what's going to happen, right? There might be too many people. I want the good seats. I want to know what's going on. And it was only like maybe less than 20 journalists altogether. And this is like Charlie Kirk we're talking about. So that was really strange for me. Then they let us in. They warned us that we can't have any electronics, any phone or anything. Like it has to be in our pockets or we would be dismissed. And 15 minutes into the hearing, they went to recess.
Wow.
Yes. 15 minutes. I was like, okay, so we've been here maybe like 15 minutes and you're already going to recess. And what's worse than that is that they told us, well, you can't come back anymore. So you're out. Adios, journalists. Like you go do your thing. I'm like, what's going on here? So that was really weird to me. And then, it just, all the other thing that happened that I can talk about, but I also wrote an email to Nester, which is a current lawyer of Tyler Robinson. I was like, well, maybe she doesn't know. Maybe she hasn't heard about me, like that I've got this lawyer, for pro bono case. So I wrote her an email detailing that I have a lawyer who's willing to help her out for free, who's much more experienced than she is. And I've got no answer back.
So I still don't understand what Greg Skordas has to do with this. So he has a lawyer. So Tyler Robinson has a lawyer that you've been in contact with. And what's that lawyer's name?
So I think you might mess up the time periods. Back then, he didn't have a lawyer.
Okay. So when you were trying to find him a pro bono lawyer,
he didn't have a lawyer.
He didn't have one. And the people that you were talking to inside the legal community in Utah said that no, Greg Skordas is on this. Yes. He's finding a lawyer for him. Is that
exactly?
That's what they told you?
Exactly. That's exactly what they told me. So I have never heard of Greg Skordas before. Apparently he's got a very famous show in Utah or something, but I don't listen to like lawyer shows or anything like that. So I didn't know. That was the first time that I heard that Skordas was on this case. And how I recognized the name is that because I've heard him in the courtroom as well, because he was there. And I was like, wait, that guy was at the hearing. So I've heard this name before. And that's how my whole relationship with this lawyer thing started. And of course, like, the story and how it unfolded, that they found a lawyer, this Nester woman that is nowhere near as experienced as my lawyer, which is, by the way, still available if someone is listening. But no answer. Nobody got back to me. So
you contacted his current lawyer, Nester, said, yes, hey, I have this amazing lawyer willing to work pro bono, and you haven't heard back. And every other legal person you talk to in Utah said you can't. They didn't want they were hostile, and they said that this Greg what is his name?
Skordas.
Greg Skordas.
Or it is, yes.
Okay, so that he was going to find a lawyer, and so now he did find a lawyer for Tyler Robinson, but nobody can get a hold of Tyler Robinson.
Exactly. So that's another weird thing. And Jimmy, I've got some updates for you there too. I don't know if you've heard that he's not going to be showing up in person for the preliminary hearing he was scheduled to show up in person. And now they tell us that he's not going to show up in person, and wait for it, he's not even going to show his face on the video. So pretty much you could be sitting there and, we wouldn't know that it's not Tyler Robinson. So all of this secrecy around this guy and why is he so untouchable is a mystery. Like, it's bizarre to me because no other high profile case, is even similar to what's going on with Tyler Robinson. So, I mean, you and I both know the answer to this. We know why. And, it's not hard to guess, but.
So, yeah. Well, my guess would be that the fix is in and that they don't want Tyler Robinson to get a fair trial because this is a setup and they've got a patsy already framed and they want this to be over and done with very quickly. That's why there's a gag order, which one of the biggest unprecedented gag order from this judge, which that's not me talking. That's even Grok agrees that this is an unprecedented gag order. And so they don't want anybody talking about it. They don't want it. Just sounds very much like 9/11, sounds very much like Seth Rich, sounds very much like COVID. To me, that you're going to be shamed if you ask questions about this. You're going to be discredited. You're going to be called crazy and a conspiracy theorist. All this stuff just for asking normal questions about an unsolved murder. And a murder that we all saw happen, and nothing that the establishment says makes sense about it. Nothing whatsoever. And now this is quite a piece of information that you set up a great lawyer for this guy. Not only could you not get in touch with Tyler Robinson, but people who could hung up on you. And his current lawyer, which is nowhere near the prestige of the lawyer you have offered, won't even return your email about this. So it's all very, as we say, another weird thing that's surrounding this case. It's another very peculiar thing that doesn't pass the smell test. And, lots of people are saying there's no way that guy's going to get a fair trial. And this kind of proves it. Does it prove it to you?
Absolutely, Jimmy. And, it's very funny. It's not funny at all, but it's kind of funny how stupid they are, because I think what happened is in their heads, whoever killed Charlie, and we can go into that too if you want, but whoever killed Charlie, in their heads, they really thought that this case would not escalate to this level. They thought that, Candace Owens will not give up, but Candace Owens is Candace Owens, it's just one voice. They did not see through what would happen. It's not just Candace. They did not anticipate that Tucker would speak out. They did not anticipate that Megyn Kelly would come out and speak out, because Megyn always takes more defensive stand. And all of a sudden, this escaped them. And now it's out of their hands, and it has become a case investigated by people and independent journalists and people like you and Candace and me. And I don't think they know how to handle this anymore. So they are throwing gag orders that we've never seen before. So they are shutting Tyler up, and they are telling us where there's no reason that you're not going to see his face. It's going to be just a blank screen. I mean, the first hearing we had, guy was mute. I was sitting there looking at him. By the way, it was also on a video. He didn't show up, which is, I could justify that by they didn't want to make a spectacle out of it and so on. But he was sitting there like a zombie. And the only time he spoke is when he said his own name. And that was it. And now apparently we can't even see that. So yeah, this case stinks and everyone knows it.
Wow. Well, I appreciate you coming on to share that information about the lawyers. It is there's so many things that make absolutely no sense, and I appreciate you coming on, Elizabeth. Thank you for your insight.
Absolutely, thank you.
And I'm sure we'll be in touch more, because I'm sure this story isn't going away. Come see us in Australia. Second show's added in Melbourne, Sydney, and Brisbane. We'll see you in Burbank, California, the day after Thanksgiving. It's a Friday. And then Pottstown, Pennsylvania, December 6th. Plus, January 11th, we're going to be in Waikiki at the Blue Note. Tickets not available yet for them, but go to jimmydore.com for a link for all the other tickets.